Welcome to Letting Go University. We do a lot of letting go in Letting Go University. We've got 5 sessions every day, 4 in addition to this one. You can check the link in the description if you'd like to come join us for a whole lot more facilitated letting go. And if you'd like to learn more about letting go in general, you can join us where we study these books, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David R Hawkins and The Sedona Method by Hale Dwoskin, Lester Levinson's protege. Grab these books if you want to have a huge boost in your letting go process, or come to the group and just try it out. Dive in more and more. Bring up your topics, whatever you want to release on. Kind of experimenting, just throwing some topics out there. It seemed like the last couple of days, those were some topics that were good for people to release on. And today we're going to bring up something a little bit different. Willingness to be wrong. So making mistakes is excellent. Why is making mistakes excellent? Why is being wrong excellent? Because when I allow myself to be wrong and make mistakes, I then allow you to be wrong and make mistakes, and there's compassion. We're all kind of stumbling through this. We've got all kinds of erroneous programming, and there's all these ideas of how things should be or shouldn't be, and oftentimes none of it's true. And so to be willing to be wrong just is a huge shortcut. Now, instead of out of pride needing to defend an erroneous position or belief system or program, now I can easily move through for something greater, a higher perspective, a different dimension. And whatever I was looking at as a problem, the solution might have been right there, but I couldn't see it because I was holding on to this old positionality. So the willingness to be wrong is very, very, very helpful. And it just takes some humility. Chances are, I don't know shit. I have discovered again and again that I've had belief systems and programs that were so in error and was causing me so much suffering, and yet I was hanging on to them as if they were valuable or true. So we're going to look at these feelings of pride and fear and guilt around being wrong as if it's a bad thing. It's a great thing. The sooner I can realize I'm wrong, the sooner I can move on to a higher awareness. The sooner I can let go, the sooner I can rise. And then there's this resistance to looking at things differently, to trying a new way, resisting seeing things differently. So that clinging on to the old, hoping that it's going to carry me through, I'm resisting. Maybe there's a much easier way. Maybe there's a totally different way of looking at this, another thing I could try. And so that resistance to a higher perspective, to a different way of doing things. So in this release, we're going to go on both sides of that, the willingness to be wrong and resisting seeing things differently. So here we go. Is there anything wrong with being wrong? What's wrong with being wrong? People stay in fights with family members, friends, spouses, partners, co-workers for days, years, decades. Because it seems bad to be wrong. I need to be right. And so can you notice anything where you've been needing to be right and not letting go of your position, and there's been some suffering or misery involved? Maybe a relationship falling apart, maybe your business suffering. Maybe some disconnection from God, clinging to a positionality about God. And so can you notice this unwillingness to be wrong? Fighting to be right. And whether you're right or wrong, could you just notice this feeling? Behind the thoughts about whatever it is, could you allow yourself to just feel the feeling? Is there any fear, any pride, any wanting control, or any secret shame or guilt? Maybe I am wrong. And could you just open up that feeling, allow that feeling to run? Whatever comes up for you. It's just a feeling. If you let it be just a feeling, could you open up and notice the feeling behind clinging to a position, unwillingness to be wrong? And just letting that feeling run, ignoring the thoughts. And could you let go of that feeling? Would you let go of that feeling? If you could. When could you let go? And what if there was a way you could perceive this, look at this, where there was relief and happiness and ease? What if it was just a simple change in perspective? What if there was a gift in being wrong and allowing it to be wrong? Maybe there's a different way of looking at it. And could you allow yourself in that same situation to really resist seeing it a different way? Just notice the resistance to a different perspective, doing something else, changing your mind. And can you notice what it feels like to be resisting a different way of looking at it, a different perspective, changing your mind? Just allow that resistance. Whatever that feels like, just a feeling. Maybe there's fear, maybe there's guilt or shame, maybe there's anger, wanting control, pride. Whatever comes up for you, that's okay. Could you let it be okay? Let it be just a feeling. And let the thoughts scroll by without tapping on them, without engaging them and getting more and more thoughts. Could you allow your presence to be with the feeling, the vibration, the sensation in the energy body, physical body? Just allowing that feeling just for now. And could you let that feeling be okay? Turn it up. More of that feeling. Really resist changing your mind, seeing it differently. Feel that more. And could you release that feeling? Would you release that feeling? Release the resistance to seeing it differently. And it's just a choice to release. You never have to. It's not right to release or wrong not to release. Just a choice. When could you release the resistance to seeing it differently? And looking again, is there anywhere where you're unwilling to be wrong, where it seems really important to be right? And there may have been quite a bit of suffering with clinging to this position. And just opening up to your higher self, to higher guidance. Just anything you're clinging to, unwilling to be wrong about, unwilling to change your mind about, where there's some pain or suffering. Could be with a family member, could be with a friend, could even be with some perspective about yourself. And can you go behind whatever came through your awareness, whatever came through your mind, and notice the feeling there? Could be any feeling, just noticing the feeling, whatever it is. Could you allow that feeling? If it's anger, great, feeling angry. If it's a desire or a wanting to control a situation, control somebody else, it's fine. Could you feel that? Could you just allow the now feeling, whatever it is, give it some space, give it some allowance. It'll go all on its own if that feeling is just allowed to be there, allowed to be felt. It'll start to go because you open up. Allow that feeling, just ignoring the thoughts. Thoughts are all resistance to feeling feelings and letting them go. Just opening up this feeling, whatever it is, wherever it is. And could you surrender your experience of this feeling to your higher self? Just letting that feeling run. Feeling it, surrendering that experience to a higher power. Just turning it over. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. Just letting it run. Could you surrender? When could you surrender this unwillingness to be wrong? So that you can get the benefits of realizing you made a mistake. If you did, maybe you didn't. It's a very powerful question. Could I be in error about this? Could I be wrong? Is there another way of looking at this that I'm not seeing right now? It's called humility, and it's very, very powerful. And there can be a lot of resistance to looking at things differently, to changing one's mind. If there was a different way of looking at it, if there had been an error, wouldn't you want to know what's really going on? A higher perspective? A higher truth? And with truth comes happiness, freedom. And when we're defending a position, oftentimes it's not happiness, it's not freedom. We're bound to a position. So could you notice any resistance to looking at this same situation differently? To seeing it in a new light? To changing your mind? to a higher perspective that maybe you just couldn't see before. And could you allow that resistance? Behind all the thoughts, there's a feeling. And that feeling's ready to go. Could you let it? Could you allow it to be felt? Maybe even welcome that feeling, whatever it is, wherever it is. And could you just let that feeling run? Just for a moment. And could you let it go? Would you let go of resisting, seeing it a different way? Let go of this feeling. When could you let go? Drop the resistance. And be available for a higher perspective. And this willingness to be wrong is so helpful. If I'm making an error in my business or in my relationship or in how I'm seeing myself, be nice to know. But out of pride and out of fear of embarrassment or fear of being wrong, I might really cling on to a position and try and force my way forward with it, even though I'm getting beat up all along the way. So can you notice any clinging to a position, clinging to a way of seeing things or a way of doing things that you've been getting beat up trying to hold on to and defend? And could you allow yourself to notice this unwillingness to be wrong? Or just admit you made a mistake. Or that you might have been wrong, might have made a mistake. And could you notice all the energy, the feeling that's tied up in defending this position, defending what you're doing? Behind all these thoughts, there's a feeling there. Could you open up and allow that feeling? Just letting the thoughts go by and dropping into that feeling. Could you let it be just a feeling? And could you release? Would you release? When could you release this feeling? Just let it go. And maybe there's a new way of seeing the same situation that doesn't take so much work, that doesn't hurt so much. Maybe there's great relief in just doing something differently, seeing something differently, choosing differently. not hanging on to that old position. And can you notice any resistance to the possibility that there's a higher way of doing it, a higher way of seeing it? And could you allow yourself to notice that feeling? Just notice that feeling of resisting a possible better way, a possible higher perspective, a possible ease and relief in a new position or dropping that position. Could you really resist? Let that come up. Just noticing the feeling that's there just for right now. Not a right feeling or a wrong feeling, just a feeling. Labeled or unlabeled, could you be with the feeling, ignoring the thoughts, and just allowing this feeling to unpack this resistance to seeing things in a new light, to doing something differently than you've done before. Really allowing that feeling. Notice what it feels like to be resisting a different way, a new way of seeing or doing or being. Just allowing that resistance to come up. And could you surrender that feeling, that resistance to God? Just turning it over. Would you surrender your experience of this feeling, this resisting a new way, to God? Just giving it up. When could you surrender the resistance to a new way of seeing, being, doing? And it's just a choice. You're free to hang on to old positionalities, to resist new ways. You're always free. Nobody's going to force you to let go. Though if there was a different way of seeing this, doing this, thinking about this, that would bring you relief, wouldn't it be nice to be wrong, know that, admit that, and move on and learn from the error? We're going to make mistakes. We're going to be wrong all the time. And that's okay. Because the sooner we let go of clinging to our errors, the sooner we can get back on the right path. Thank you so much for joining us, and have the best day you can.